Good day. Yes.
Indeed.
All right. Peace and love, everyone.
Peace, peace,
It's,
peace.
Mystics of the 40th Parallel, Ross Ben and Mystic Mike. And we got some soul jars. We got some blessed souls, bright-eyed angels from the 40th Parallel, Pittsburgh to be exact. My good brother, Ross Naeem, even though now he lives in South Carolina. Founder of Infinite Treasures, right? Infinite Treasures was founded in Pittsburgh, and this man was born and raised in that region. And we got two other bright-eyed angels, good brother Khufu and good brother John, who are there on the scene in the mountain of Pitt, right?
Yeah, man.
Which is even kind of a conflict, like a polarized name in one word, because you got a pit, which is like the low place, and the berg, which is the heights. But y'all brethren is there doing some impressive research. And we are coming together to promote an event April 23rd and 24th. We're going to decode Pittsburgh.
What?
What
did you just say?
We're going to decode Pittsburgh. And look, those who caught my 2022 vision know that the end of April is the portal of portals.
That's right.
The exact major conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. And I see Pittsburgh as a portal city. It's a portal from the east side of Appalachia to the west. It's a place where four rivers meet. There's just a lot of mysticism. From the indigenous time to the industrial age. All to be found right there. So I'm very excited about this opportunity.
You got to be more specific, Ross. Pittsburgh is a place where the primary tributary of the largest river in America meets. We got a river that rolls from south to north. You don't really have a whole lot of rivers that roll from south to north. We got one of those in Pittsburgh called the Monongahela.
Yep.
And it meets this other river called the Allegheny, and there's an underground river that meets right there at the point what is downtown Pittsburgh. I don't know what they call that underground river, but they create the Ohio.
I think it's called a glacial flow.
The glacial, that's exactly what it's called, bro.
Yeah, it's an underground river. They all meet right there. And that is the primary tributary to the Mississippi. The Ohio makes its way through the Midwest. And by the time it meets somewhere out there where it ties into there's another river. I don't even know what the other name of the river is. It comes from like Montana or something out there in the West. But the Ohio is the primary tributary to the longest river in this country.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what Pittsburgh is. The place what they call Onondaga, what you called it. Navel of the universe.
Yeah. Well, I'm pulling up a picture of that point. Y'all see it?
Yep, we see that.
All right. So this is the place where four rivers meet, huh?
Yes, I.
And what is that circle? What's there?
It's a fountain. That's a fountain right there at the tip where the two rivers meet. That's called Point State Park. Fort Pitt used to be there. There used to be a fort there that was controlled, I believe, by who? The British or the French? I can't remember.
The British, and then the French. The French had Fort Duquesne before that.
Yes.
So that is the site of Fort Duquesne.
Yes. On site there's like a little spot, it was like a little house and whatnot. And for a while here in Pittsburgh, it was like the little house that was the last remaining spot of Fort Duquesne.
Wow.
But outline, they have, like, if you go down to that park where you see it's a lot of clear open grass, they still have like a brick outlining of the original Fort Duquesne. It was like a four-sided fort, and each corner had like these, if you could imagine, almost like a lookout post. But that is still there. When we go down there, you'll see it's still outlined in brick, with the tradition where the traditional fort used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, Khufu and John, I know y'all brothers got for each day a tour and a evening presentation lined up. Is one of those tours? Are we going to that spot?
Which one?
Down
Fort
at
Duquesne.
down at Fort Duquesne. We were going to go to Mount Washington and overlook it from down below.
Yeah,
but yeah,
we got to go to the point, bro. That's essential.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to actually tell us, give us some details about what y'all got lined up.
So we're thinking about going to Oakland and have Brother Mike give us, some tour of the families and the industrial stuff that broke out and came into Oakland, because there's a lot of stuff happening there.
Mm-hmm.
And then head up into Mount Washington and go to that Gaius Suda statue and with George Washington, and have you tell us about, that different connection that was going on between the indigenous First Nations people and with the colonists and the different settlers that were trying to settle Pittsburgh.
What's that statue's name, bro?
Gaius Suda. And then there's also a statue of him in Sharpsburg.
So this is the statue you're speaking of, right?
Correct, and that's in Mount Washington.
And Mount Washington, I see that I could tell with the relation of the skyline in the background that this is a mount overlooking Pittsburgh, huh?
Yes.
Facts.
And so the vision y'all have is for us, like if we go here, we'll also see that Fort Duquesne Circle Park. Go ahead, what are you going to say?
You can see it straight on.
And
you can see how Ras Nahim was talking about where that original outline of where the fort was. It's in some kind of star formation or some kind of geometrical specific pattern.
It's a star. It's an old star fort, definitely.
Wow.
That's no question about it.
Wow. Yeah, man.
And the foundation is still there in the grass. It's outlined in bricks, even though the walls are not there. The foundation of where the walls were at are still there in the park. And you can see it from a distance. We don't necessarily have to go down there physically to see it. But yeah, you can see it from a distance. It's definitely been preserved.
Yes. So this statue fascinates me because it looks like a complementary, antagonistic relationship,
Yeah, it looks.
They are embracing hand to hand, right?
Yeah.
But what's the brother's name?
Gaius Suda, I believe I'm pronouncing it right.
Gaius Suda. Gaius Suda's extending his left hand, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which in Latin is the sinister hand. So that's very interesting. And Mike, we've been running our mouths. How you doing, good brother?
I'm doing good.
What's your thoughts on this statue right here, bro? You got any vision?
No, I mean, I'm looking at it and it doesn't, the body language positioning doesn't feel authentic. And so that's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. Like there's something about it, like as you pointed out with the left hand, I'm curious what's in the right hand. I can't tell what that is. But there's also something about it that that feels contrived about it. So that's what I see. But I do agree with you that it's magnetizing. It pulls you in.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, you can notice the geometric shape that it takes in between the chin, the forehead, down to the middle where they touch fingers at. And that's almost like the shape of the badge here in Pittsburgh. Like the
Steeler emblem is inside of it.
Interesting.
And is that the stadium where the Steelers play in the background?
Yes. Heinz Field.
Underneath where their finger is, yes, right there.
Yeah.
That's a ball. That's a ballpark.
Yeah, exactly. It's the ballpark.
Wow, interesting.
Yep. So
well, there's two stadiums there. One is where the Pirates play. Other one behind them is where the Steelers play, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right.
The Pirates. Yeah, the Pirates play at one field. I think that what the Steelers play at Heinz Field or the Pirates. I've been gone, man. The original place where I used to play used to be Three Rivers Stadium, and they tore that thing down about 15 years ago.
Yep.
And built two parks, one for the football team and one for the baseball team.
Mm.
So the one behind them is where the football players play, if I'm not mistaken, and the one that's right underneath where their grass is at is where the baseball takes place. You know. Right to your point, what baseball in Pennsylvania, balling in Pennsylvania on the 40th parallel?
Huh.
Man.
So the thing which I did want to point out when we went through the introduction is, there are two things, at least from my perspective, which are happening. One is the surface of the information which is being presented and the coming together of like-minded people and meeting and all of that. Like, that's happening. But the fact that the timing and the location of the event, like quite literally, as you described, with the conjunction with Jupiter and Neptune, and then these these Monmouth rivers meeting with the underground river on top of it, like, on the most literal sense, what we're talking about, what's being reclaimed, where and when, like, and along the line, which we've been talking about for a year. This is the first time that this is kind of like come into actual manifestation, where, like, yeah, that's some real interesting ideas you guys are talking about. Let me go and share with you what we're learning about our area. And it's phenomenal to watch it happen. And so I just wanted to put that out.
Yeah.
To be witnessed.
John, Khufu, yes. Give the folks some details. Like, how can they be a part of this? What's the donation? Where's the meetup? Or how can they be a part?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, John.
If they email spatialcreativity@gmail.com, they can get the whole lineup when they pay $44 for one day. If you specify which day you want to come to, Saturday or Sunday. Sunday, there's only a limited ticket of 20 tickets, so be mindful of that. Saturday, we should have between 40 and 50 tickets, and we're going to be going around doing the tours. Like I was saying on Saturday, Mount Washington, then we're going to have one or two other stops. And then we're going to head over to the Kingsley Center in East Liberty on Frankstown Avenue. And then we're going to have our lectures from 4 to 8, a little Q&A for everybody that has questions for Ross, Ben, and Brother Mike. And then Sunday, we're going to have we have some other ancient burial mounds right here in Pittsburgh. So we're going to go to there, and then the Observatory Hill. And then the lecture on Sunday will be at Observatory Hill. And when you email us, you'll get all the directions and the address for where everything will be.
Okay. Man, it sounds like y'all have a great, strong beginning. I'm not going to say a weekend. Right? But y'all have a great, strong beginning lined up for us. I'm excited. Hey, sure. Y'all mentioned mounds, right?
Correct.
And I got to be honest. When y'all reached out to me and shared all the information you've amassed, right? I really thought y'all had read Free Your Mound and Your Mind Will Follow.
Never.
The depth of your research, the consistency, and really just like so many things that I've brought out about the global mound matrix and how you can see if your city is a Cincinnati or just, even if it's not a city of 7 hills, find the significant mounds in your area and see what edifices or architectural buildings you'll find there, and you know, like y'all did that to such a in-depth degree. I thought y'all had read Free Your Mound. And when y'all shared with me, y'all had just been watching the 40th Parallel, I was blown away. But because you sent me so many, like, what do you say, smoking gun, primary evidence about things we said in Free Your Mound and Your Mind Will Follow, you know? This one Trinity Church burial ground, the landmark for it being a classic example where this one plaque really says everything we said in Free Your Mound, that, hey, they found the indigenous mounds, right? Built some type of edifice on it and or buried their own, had blood spilt and buried their own on the mound so that their bloodline, their ancestral lineage now had a, what do you say, a DNA connection.
Yes.
Land.
And Brother Kufu and I just went back to there, and a lot of these streets that Pittsburgh is named after, their ancestors are, their grave sites are right there on top of
them. Yeah. So it's crazy to
it's exactly what you talk about,
to walk on top of it, man. It's something to feel, I tell you that. And then right across the street is the Duquesne Hotel. And I don't know if Naeem know about the Duquesne Hotel, but this is where all the big dignitaries go. Like the president may go there. You know what I mean? Real high end. Like people in Pittsburgh scared to even look in there.
Wow. So, man, Pittsburgh is such a enigma to people who really, because it seems like if you don't know what's up, it seems like a nowhere. Like what, you know, like in the middle of, you know, Midwest.
This is where, like, a lot of people who created Hollywood come from Pittsburgh. Like this is where Night of the Living Dead was created at. You know what I'm saying? City of.
What do you mean by that? Night of the Living Dead was created there.
Yeah, and what's the name? The Monroeville
Mall.
We just left Monroeville too.
You mean they filmed it there?
Yeah, 20, 30 years ago.
Yep. So a lot of movies, even right where you guys gonna be staying, that a lot of movie filming going on around here, like every day. This is like the next Hollywood.
East Coast of Hollywood.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's always a movie bin. Like Seth Rogen, who's over here now?
Tom Hanks again.
Tom Hanks is in the hood right now.
He was filming Mr. Rogers. Tom Hanks was filming Mr. Rogers a couple years ago.
He's back now filming a new one in the same neighborhood you guys will be. So it's gonna be a lot of film trucks around probably when y'all get here.
You get is Mr. Rogers from Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
The PBS.
The Jewish synagogue that got shot up is right up the street from Mr. Rogers' house.
And that's in a neighborhood called Squirrel Hill?
Squirrel Hill, exactly.
Predominantly Jewish community, right.
Yeah.
Hey, but Ross, to your point, when you ask about the significance of Pittsburgh, is while we're on the subject of mounds, we're talking about Mississippi mound builders. So if you follow the Mississippi, if you do what indigenous people do and follow the water, they're gonna draw you to Pittsburgh. And if you go into Philadelphia, which is where you say one of the most sacred sites in this country is, based on where they built the Ben Franklin Museum. You can't get there from the Midlands unless you come through Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? Pittsburgh is that portal between the East Coast and the interior of the country. You know what I'm saying? The primary tributary of this, the main waterway of the country, basically gets its biggest source of water from Pittsburgh. So when it comes to whoever, indigenous and or folks who came after colonizing, Pittsburgh is a gateway, man. More than what they call, wherever they got the arcs out there in Indianapolis, St. Louis or whatever. Pittsburgh is a real gate. Pittsburgh is the real gateway into the heart of this place, what they call America, Turtle Island. You know what I'm saying? Pittsburgh is the real gateway. You know what I'm saying? This, if you get this far and you find this river, you could carry it all the way down to the Gulf, man. You know, and the mound builders knew this. Yep. And like you say, when you're dealing with the mound studies, you find most of them along this waterway. And yeah, our hometown where we was born, that's what they call it, the navel of the universe, the Onondaga. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This
navel of the universe.
Get you into the interior. If you're coming from the East Coast, if you was an explorer, what you say, some of the folks seeking refuge, if you can make it through the wilderness of Pennsylvania and find this point where the two rivers meet, the four rivers meet, yeah, man, you got access to the whole of Turtle Island. Yeah.
That's a super duper fact. Go ahead.
So a little bit south of Pittsburgh, about 40 minutes, there's a place called Meadowcroft. Yes. And it was pre-Clovis people that habited that land.
Yes.
So whenever that was happening post-flood, however they got here, they were in Meadowcroft, which was here close.
On the 40th. At Meadow. So when you look, amazing sight, man. It'll blow your mind. It's right around here.
Now, speaking of the latitude and longitude of Pittsburgh, I'm kind of amazed how the mathematics line up, because it's on the 40th parallel latitude, but it's on the 80th degree of longitude. Am I correct?
That's exactly where we'll be staying at.
So that's pretty mystic, because 80 is double 40, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I also, something else that stood out to me as far as the timing and the numerology, right? Where the borough of Pittsburgh, its birthday is 4/22, which is the day before. It's the day I'm coming in, but it's the day before we're having these structured events, you know? So that's pretty mystic that we're going to be there on Pittsburgh's. A lot of this is happening around Pittsburgh's birthday, you know?
And, you know, we wanted to line it up using the numerology, too. So even when we contacted you, it was all based off the two. So, and everything panned out. So, yeah. And we getting jewels from that. So, as it was in the beginning, you know, so shall it be in the end, you know?
So Roz, you coming home. Is this, have you been to Pittsburgh with your infinite treasures? When was the last time you were there? And what is the significance of infinite treasures returning to Pitts Mountain in 2022?
You know, a point was just brought up when we were talking about the numbers and the dates and the times. And I had the impulse to interject, but as I get older, I understand that sometimes, you know, things just got to roll out. But I'm glad you offered me the segue, because the significance of our return and the work that we're doing, I can't separate my work to venerate my folks and to know from whence I've come from the work that I'm doing right now with Infinite Treasures, you know? Literally, Infinite Treasures was born simultaneously with my quest to understand who my people are and not having direct information from my foremothers and forefathers. When my grandfather passed in 1995 was a few days literally after I found out that these things that we render will give us a clear sign of what we're really worth, compared to chasing after jobs, running gigs, getting an hourly wage, and somebody else get to put on me what I'm worth. You know, when my grandfather passed, I didn't really know much about him, and the curiosity stirred. And it was simultaneous with the understanding that, man, what you create, people will pay. And if people will pay from what you create and you enjoy it, why do you continue to spend most of your time, energy, and ashe chasing other people's problems? for a menial fee, you know? So to try to answer the question, 95 is when Infinite Treasures was born. 2005 is when we had to move up out of Pittsburgh. Like so many of the great minds that are born in Pittsburgh. There's a mystery about Pittsburgh where if you get endowed with a genius, unfortunately you got to come up out of there.
But I'm saying a man will never be a prophet in his home, you know?
A prophet is never recognized in his homeland, and that cannot be more profound than the place what we call Pittsburgh, bro. So many great minds have been, incubated in Pittsburgh, but had to leave to get recognized and to reach the full potential. Infinite Treasures is no different. And I don't say that to say that we didn't have support at home, but again, there's something very peculiar about that place, something very peculiar about the nature of old money, you know, and how it controls what is being broadcast out from the place called Pittsburgh, man. Pittsburgh is a very powerful broadcast station where the waters meet, just like Mike points out when y'all cover the 40th parallels, where the waters meet dictates so much about the societies from which sip from that water. And these folks who have taken over the land have really dialed Pittsburgh in to such a degree where if you got a gift and you got a jewel, you know, at some point you have to come from up underneath it in order to really see the full potential of what your gift and what your jewel is. So to answer your question, when we left in 2005, we've been back to Pittsburgh almost every year. You know, again, in my work to keep up with my family and my traditions, I got to go see my grandparents. You know, it's just part of who I am. You know, I got to go see my mother. I got to go give my family some time. But the windows are usually so small that from really when we left in 2005 to now, we have not been back with our renderings. We haven't been back with the time to actually spread the table and share and show this community, you know, who have been supporting us for more than 20 years. Yeah, we're still out this work, and this is what we're doing contemporarily. So this will be the first time since we left in 2005 that we will be in a position, because we ain't coming with the family this time, you know. My baby girl, you know,
coming?
the one and only. I just got off the phone with him, man, and he got dynamics going on. He ain't gonna be able to make this one, man.
All right,
yeah.
We was
and
thinking
usually I travel with the tribe.
Yeah, we was thinking the organizer of the Crypto Crystal Convergence that kind of jumped off in February, but kind of put us on a certain momentum we on now. We thought he was tribing up here too. I'm sorry, man. Ross. I mean to interrupt.
No worries, brother. No worries. And the weight still may be made, but like I said, I just got off the phone with him a few hours before jumping on this. And, you know, he got some dynamics he has to work through. So that route for us both to come together is not as clear as it was initially, you know?
Okay.
But yeah, like I say, more time when I come with my full troop, man. And that takes priority. This time I'm riding in Han Solo. So it will give me the opportunity to really administer to the community, man, to share with folks who've been supporting for the better part of 20 years. The foundation of what Infinite Treasures is started right there. That was the first incubator. And that's, you know, even through years of not really being so much out in the public with the work, the clients there have still been supporting from a distance. But this will be the first time since 2005 when we left that we will come locked, loaded with a full spread of what we doing nowadays with Infinite Treasures. And ain't nothing changed, man. We building these tools and these jewels specifically designed to enhance our connections with the heavens and the earth. And this work that we're doing right here is heavenly, earthly work. How we connect into celestial timing and events and synchronicity of the movements of the heavens with the sacred spaces on earth that give us the power to pull back the wool and to come from up underneath the mysteries of the conquerors and see life that's really worth, you know?
And I would be amiss. And we got you, Mike, because I want to build on something Naeem mentioned, right? But I would be amiss if I didn't mention that as far as Rocks of Ages, the very first edition, not the new edition, one that came out in 2000, Ras Naeem Infinite Treasures, they brought me out my first big event with Rocks of Ages. Like, you know, traveling with them in my little suitcase, right? Got my little crystals wrapped, setting up, speaking, all of that. Yeah, man, that thing started in Pittsburgh. Infinite Treasures, Ras Naeem opened that portal up early,
Right out
like
there in
20 years
Wilkinsburg.
ago.
Right
So
in
this is a
Wilkinsburg.
full
We set 'em
circle
up.
with that, you know?
Right off Penn Avenue in Wilkinsburg, bro. Right out
Yep.
there. Right
That's
next to the
right.
culture spot in Wilkinsburg. Yeah.
Our good brother Ross Meisha was a big part of it. And I know
Yeah.
Ross is going to be present.
Yes.
But he's
Yes.
upcoming as well. But yo,
Crystal Vault. The Crystal Vault. Oh, Ross
Crystal
Meisha.
Vault. That's right. Ross Meisha.
Yeah.
So
Represent.
look, Ross mentioned these families, these old money families of Pittsburgh. Mike, what's your thought on these old money families of Pittsburgh, bro? Because we know that's like your gift to be able to, you know.
So a couple things. The first thing is I'm excited to see all the stuff which is going to be coming up from South Carolina, and I'm going to bring up my starboard as well because I think it's going to make sense to set the board. And you've seen it, Roz. You know what it looks like. Like we're going to set it to what's going on in the heavens, and that's I'm excited to bring that into the mix. And I'm going to answer your question, but I don't want to forget this. I want to know, the statement was Pittsburgh is a powerful broadcasting and it's broadcasting something peculiar. I would love to hear a little bit more detail on your thoughts on what that is. But I'll answer your question quickly, Roz, as it relates to the moneyed families. The way I see it in the most general sense is you follow the money. When you see the names that are associated with Pittsburgh, which, as you said, like on all, most people would overlook Pittsburgh's influence in terms of being an urban center, but you got the Carnegies, you got the Mellons, you know, the obvious ones, the Hineses, but particularly the Carnegie. And if you understand this, the influence of what Carnegie has done in terms of shaping the way we see reality, like, wow, you know, that points to something deeper, and the rest of the big money family follow that. Where I am, I'm in the midst of uncovering what's going to be presented or what I'll be presenting there, but
Big
it's
Mike,
a little bit more.
Don't forget about Westinghouse.
There we go. All the radio stuff. You're absolutely right. All the radio stuff. That's the broadcast. Okay. Marconi and all that stuff. All right. I forgot about that. But where I'm going to focus on, and it originates with the big money family, is that Pittsburgh has a very, very strange history in terms of moving around people. And if you begin to look at the influence of HUD and Richard Mellon and what they call the creative class, and moving people around out of their neighborhoods, and you could begin to see this as a bigger sort of theme. And I heard a little bit of it when it pushes people away who've got a jewel. So that seems to me about moving people around, and then everything else about what Pittsburgh did pre-colonization about home and moving people and the blood of the land. I'm not certain where it's going, but that's what I'm really sensing is where the research, which I'm going to look at, is going to go. It has to do with what we call home and forces moving people from home.
Wow. Which is so relevant in these gentrifying age, right?
Yeah. I mean, the whole gentrification. The gentrification idea was birthed in Pittsburgh.
Wow. I had no clue. Man, it's gonna be fire. I'm excited. I do know Pittsburgh was considered the official start of the what exposit ex
What was that? The French Indian War? Was
well,
that
it
it?
was the jump off. Yeah, if Ben Franklin was the French connection, Pittsburgh is the center of the French connection, where the English and the French work collectively to have the Lenape and other federated Algonquin speakers clash with the Iroquois, to the demise of both.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Pittsburgh was ground zero of that. But the Lewis and Clark exposition, that's what I was thinking of. Pittsburgh was the beginning point of and Breckenridge, is that his name? Am I saying that correctly?
You are.
Okay, so Breckenridge, who is from Pittsburgh, kind of he did some early exploration before Lewis and Clark. And he's again, like I said, the research y'all shared with me, it seemed like it was examples out of Free Your Mind and Your Mind Will Follow. Because Breckenridge is the most smoking gun example of a mound gritter, even more so than Thomas Jefferson, that you can find. Because he chronicles all the mounds he went to find, and identified mounds in Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania, as well as gave Lewis and Clark a heads up of the various mound structures they'll find west of Appalachia by CCing a letter he wrote to Thomas Jefferson to Caspar Wistar, who is the big man here in Philadelphia who funded the Lewis and Clark expedition. So, what's y'all thoughts on Breckenridge? Y'all got any visions on that man that y'all want to share?
Just that there's a town here in Pittsburgh, kind of north of the Allegheny, called Breckenridge. His grandfather, Hugh Henry Breckenridge, was also here in Pittsburgh, and I believe he helped found the University of Pittsburgh.
Wow.
I think it was
probably on indigenous mounds too.
I'm sure.
Hey, am I correct in saying that at one point the Cathedral of Learning, which is the icon of University of Pittsburgh, was the tallest building in Pittsburgh at one point?
Yes.
It looks more like you say, it reminds me of City Hall in Philadelphia, Ross, more than it looks like any kind of thing associated with us, Institute of Higher Learning, man.
So it's a temple it's a temple of learning.
It's a temple of learning, man, built, fashioned out of stone. You know what I'm saying? It's Gothic. You're talking about Gothic. It's the most Gothic looking thing in Pittsburgh, you know, right in the heart of where all the universities are at. Carnegie Mellon is within a stone throw. Chatham College, Duquesne University. Basically, you can see what they call the Cathedral of, and it's called the Cathedral of Learning from almost any point in the city.
Wow.
It's the only high-rise structure outside of the metropolitan Pittsburgh area that I know of. It's got to be at least 20, 30 stories tall, you know?
Are we going in that area, brothers?
So, yeah, I live right next to it. I can see it from my house.
So part of Saturday's tour, one of our first stops will be in Oakland, and we're going to walk around like there's a block radius where you can see Soldiers and Sailors, which is a historic landmark. Then you can see the Cathedral of Learning. You can see Carnegie Mellon University, and you can see a temple right across the street from the Soldiers and Sailors. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that'll be part of one of our first stops is a whole block around Oakland. While hopefully Brother Mike can give us like some of these families and how they helped established what they did in Pittsburgh.
All the houses around it.
And there's a bunch
of temple. Is that temple the Shriners Temple down there? Is that a Shriners Temple?
I'm not sure. Not.
You know, my father is something. My whole life, my father been in my ear about this Shriners Temple that was in Oakland. That, you know, and we'll go into detail on that later. But it's interesting because you mentioned the temple, and the first thing that come to mind is like, yo, my pop was telling me about this temple in Oakland before I could even understand what temples were. You know, my father, again, hence my namesake, Naeem, was in the Nation of Islam. My father was a fruit of Islam. And and, you know, my parents split before I was 2 years old. So a lot of the stories and the accounts that he offers are, you know, as a young man, they were way over my head. But it's so interesting how things come full circle. And without even necessarily pointing to the fact, y'all speaking about temples around Oakland. And my guest tells me that we're probably talking about the same things.
And then also in the northern part of Oakland, almost to the Hill District, on Center Avenue, there's the first mosque that was brought here to Pittsburgh by brother.
I forget his name.
I think he was the brother who went on to speak with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Oh, no. He's making reference to Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali set up a temple here as well before he was chased out and went to Newark.
Interesting.
So Noble Drew Ali
started in Pittsburgh.
It's a strong foundation of more sciences here, like in the Belsuva area.
Yeah, so, the Bays run Belsuva, bro.
Yes, sir. So I'm from. Go ahead.
I was about to say the Bays, man. One of the largest communities of Bays in Pennsylvania is in this community called Belsuva, man. It's one of the hardest hit communities by one of the first communities they hit with cocaine and crack because it was such a sovereign community for, you know, indigenous people to organize and centralize. And they focused on Belsuva with the crack epidemic, bro.
Wow.
But there is a stronghold of families, what they call Bays, you know, in Belsuva, bro.
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with them. But yeah, so Noble Drew Ali laid a real stronghold here on the 40th when he came. And from here he left Newark, and then he went to Chicago and set up the temples up there in Chicago and Detroit.
Interesting.
A lot of killing between those guys, between Pittsburgh and Detroit at that time. So it's a crazy history, bro.
Wow.
And that's deep.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
You got any closing thoughts?
I'm just getting real excited. And I also feel like I need to get to work.
That's what I'm talking about, Mike.
What I would recommend, line up, contact Khufu and John, man, because they threw a whole bunch of names at me as well, you know, beyond the Carnegies and Mellons. So, yeah, man. Hey, many hands make light work.
Many hands make light work.
Like, I give thanks to you guys, because if it weren't for y'all, we wouldn't be nowhere on this. And I like to thank John too, because like it's hard for people. Like, I can't get with everybody on this, you know what I mean? So he's been an angel, man. You know what I'm saying? And he's stuck in that to where he's like, yo, you want to get Roz here? And man, it lines so well, man, because neither one of us are from here. But we able to come this work, and this ain't the first. This is our first thing together, but man, we got shit lined up for this city, man. You know.
That's very interesting, Khufu, because like we say, how so many of us that have been born there, we got to get out to have our voice spoken. But just like Paradise, some of the champions in the region weren't born there, and then when they come in, they see the wealth that it is. And because they've had exposure and experiences in other places, they can really examine Pittsburgh for what it's worth. You know, it's hard to really, like you say, be recognized prophetically in your homeland.
That's
so
a
for
fact.
those of y'all that are not from the area, and can recognize the wealth and the jewels.
Yes.
Whether it's the like you say, geographic jewels or the cultural jewels that embedded within the people that are there, bro. Like,
right.
Big up. I commend both of y'all for recognizing my hometown and the fact that it ain't just some random place in the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole lot more going on in Pittsburgh.
Plaques around here right now, man. Cats is looking at us like we showing them plaques that's been in front of them for the last 40, 50 years. You know what I'm saying? Wow.
But
like my girl, I told my queen about Queen Aliquippa. She got so mad at me. She was like, how do you know about Queen Aliquippa? Like, they didn't teach us that in school. Like, I'm learning more about this town than her. And she's like, she's blown away.
But you know, that is similar to my experience with Philadelphia, because I'm not from Philly.
I can see it.
You know, when I came here and just saw all the mystic art and the amazing history and geography, all right here in the city. I would talk about it to people from Philly, and they, to them it was just part of the backdrop, man. They didn't pay no attention to it until I brought it up,
Right. Yeah. And also, man, I want to say, like, this is the level of genius here, man. Like Ras Naeem was speaking on with some of these brothers and sisters. I know it's incredible. It's like a Wakanda, man. Like, this is something's coming up out of here. I tell you that.
Interesting.
Why they got the Oculus Rift there?
Yeah, something's coming up out of here, and we're around some remarkable youth as well, man. That's gonna be at the lecture. So, man, y'all get a chance to meet some of these people, man.
Y'all had mentioned something about adults can bring youth.
Oh yeah. So if any adult get a ticket, they can bring anybody under 21 for free.
Wow.
Just one person, because we need in there to start getting them lined up with some of this information as well.
Man. And why don't y'all share one more time the details to be a part of this?
So if you just get a hold of spatialcreativity@gmail.com or go to my Spatialcreativity at paypal.com. And if you pay $44 for a one-day ticket, just specify whether it's Saturday or Sunday. And you'll be emailed all the arrangements and everywhere we're going for that specific day. If you want to get a 2-day pass, which I recommend, that's $77 for both days. And Sunday is limited tickets of only 20 tickets. So it's going to be an amazing weekend. And get a hold of spatialcreativity@gmail.com or just go directly to my PayPal at Spatialcreativity.
Also, Brother Ross,
Mike,
we got a surprise as well.
You said what?
We have a surprise place for you guys as well. We didn't want to tell you. Well, we kind of put it out there a little bit, but we definitely got a surprise for you guys, man.
All right.
In terms of whatnot. So, yeah.
Nice.
You was going to say something, Naeem?
I was going to say something, man. Mike, you're a hot mess, Mike. You spoke something and it hit something in the back of my mind. What do you mean, Oculus Rift? What are you talking about, Big Mike?
Oculus Rift is the name of the company that makes the virtual reality glasses, like the big ones, which Facebook bought. They bought them for like $1 billion 5 years ago to make gaming equipment. Now it's the foundation of their Meta program, and it's based out of Pittsburgh. That's where it's run out of.
Wow.
So it's like in the same way, if you look, or at least how I look at it, in the same way you can see Pittsburgh's scientific history as it relates to radio and all of that sort of stuff. In Westinghouse, like we're looking at generation 3 or 4, whatever we want to call it, with what Oculus Rift is. And, the name itself kind of indicates there's something underneath the surface as well.
So, and another really heavy here right now is on the rivers, instead of steel mills, is robotics. High tech. It's at this place called iRobotics, and they do high tech. they got the whole, like, it could be people walking around us right now. We don't even know. Like,
wow, it's like that.
It's like that.
Pittsburgh's like that with tech. It's their is cutting edge as it gets.
It's a technological portal going back to the industrial age.
Yes.
Well, it is a place where art and science, that's what separates Carnegie Mellon from the rest of the Ivy League schools. The emphasis on art and creating platform for art and how they take art and integrate it into science. You know, this is what separates Pittsburgh from a lot of other places. The emphasis on the art. When we go down to Oakland, you're going to see this Carnegie Museum is one of the oldest and largest museums in the country. And it's right on the other side of a rift. Like there's a gully that separates it from Carnegie Institute, the university. You know, so, and within that university, you got some of the most cutting edge technology taking place, but they also maintain space for some of the most revolutionary art displays and what have you and whatnot, man. So where art meets science and how they take art, because remember, if you think about comedic technology, they wasn't putting all them things up there, all those glyphs and all those images up there for artistic purposes. Those things carry a particular energy and a potential. So in Pittsburgh, what they're doing is they're adapting that to propagate, you know, again, this what they call industrial age of manipulating art and turning our art into something that's more of a commercial game, more than something that aligns folks with their greatest spiritual potential. And that's how indigenous cultures, what the art was used for. It wasn't pitted around industrial and commercial gain. It was engineered and perpetuated to help folks get out of the illusion that this place is the end all to be all, and to connect and to make sure that your life work connects you to the perpetuity of your foremothers and your forefathers. Pittsburgh is that place that has taken the potential and the power of art and turned it into something that can be commercialized.
Wow. Yeah. So now we talking Andy Warhol. So what's going on here is that the phenomenon art is really growing. It's huge here right now. Like, it's at a point where the mayor, he's allocating all this money to the arts for the city. So it's crazy you saying this, Naeem. Like,
old money. Where are he getting that money from? Where are you getting that money from? All that old money.
Because this is the only place I know where the rich and the poor actually tangle. You can be sitting here and you're like, I got an inheritance. Am I lying? Like, you're trying to tell you, like, yo, it's incredible the dynamic that takes place here. And with these bridges, like, it's incredible, man. You know, and I'm on the outside. I don't think if I lived here, I don't think we'll be doing what we're doing right now.
Hey, I commend y'all, brothers, man. I commend you. It's near and dear to my heart that there's champions like y'all in the burg doing this work, thinking outside the box, you know. And like you say, if you was born and raised there and you never stepped out to see the world outside of Pittsburgh, it's really hard to think outside of the box, you know, because it takes a certain level of you know, you got to have some kind of you got to have a way to eat. You know what I'm saying? And if you start thinking and start asking questions outside the box, you don't got a job no more. They cut your ability to sustain off. So it does take a certain degree of either you wasn't born there, so you came from outside the box, and now you got a different perspective, or if you were born there and you recognize, man, something ain't right, you got to get out to really see what's going on in that place, man. That old money vein is it's going even deeper into the Great Mystery Philadelphia, which is a whole other topic, which we can't go all into that tonight. But the bloodlines of tyranny run deep in Pittsburgh, and follow the bloodline, and you'll see why with all the creative geniuses born in Pittsburgh, most of them, if they ever recognized who they were, they had to get out.
Wow.
To be recognized from folks that ain't up in Pittsburgh, because the vampires in there, old lineage of vampires up in them places, man. You know?
I find it interesting. I don't know if I'll have time to like follow up on this, but in my mind, Pittsburgh is one of the few cities that I know of that's named for someone who never stepped foot
Never.
in the United States. You know, when you say follow the money, you got to go really Pitt. You got to take it to Great Britain.
Overseas.
Man, we're all excited. And I hope this has motivated one to make the effort and come and be a part of this, because it's been my experience when high frequency, like-minded people come together in these portal places and these portal times, magic happens, you know? And so, yeah, let's make it happen. Anybody got any closing thoughts?
I'd like to say some final words as well. Stuff like this doesn't happen naturally. Like, it takes effort, like planning and deciding when it's going to be done, like a lot of effort behind the scenes. And two things that needs to be recognized. You know, the like, hats off to that, because I know it happens, or like the amount of the effort that requires, and particularly when you're moving into something which you've never done before, and there's a great degree of honor and respect for that. And then secondly, I'm saying this specifically to anyone who's watching this, is like, this is the sort of stuff we support. Like, you know, whether you can make this or not, you should be supporting this. And if you can make this, because we want to see more of this type of activity as we roll forward. So it's like, we're supporting this beyond so much the surface level. It's so deep. And so I wanted to throw that out there. And I've never been to Pittsburgh, and I'm very curious to see all of these places with my own eyes and feel the earth beneath my feet.
Ooh.
Indeed. We're excited to bring y'all, brothers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, they say where opportunity is met by preparation, this is where progress begins. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, opportunity met by preparation. So again, I commend everybody on the call, particularly you, Kufu, and John, for putting out this sparking this initiative. I commend you, Mike, and Ross Ben, for really years before y'all started doing the 40th Parallel series. You know, y'all been digging into the work, but y'all been coordinating, synchronizing, and charging the rest of us with, you know, digging deeper, looking closer at what's around us. And, right. And understand, and stop making excuses. Stop looking at somebody else to blame. Let's figure out what part we play in the world that we're creating. And that's what I say. The future is bright. Future is bright. The future is what we make it.
That's right.
We just gotta we gotta step away. We gotta step away from all the illusions and people being slapped on the Oscars. All that shit is more distractions. It's just a endless barrage of distractions when there's so much right here in front of us that is a wealth that is like our ancestors banging on our heads. When are y'all gonna come online? When are y'all gonna come out of the sauce of sleepiness and listen? We're trying to guide you and direct you. All the signposts are right there. All you got to do is turn off the metaverse and listen to the birds sing, and they'll guide you to where you need to go. You know, so I commend all the brothers on this call for being intentional. You know, because there ain't too many. You know, for me personally, I don't really get to exchange with ones on certain subjects like this without being looked at like, yo, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, man? You know, why we can't just watch the game without you going into all, you know what?
All on some mystic shit.
Yeah. Why you can't just why can't you just play with balls like the rest of
us?
Right.
When you see through shit, man, it's hard to sit back on it, you know?
If you know better, you got to do better. What they call ignorance is bliss. And from you know better, the judgment comes swift. Can't just be blissful once you know better. If you ain't ever know no better, yeah, go on and wallow in the blissfulness. But when you know better, and you just and we choose to continue into foolishness, the judgment comes swift. You know, judgment comes swift.
I think now, like, like me and my brother John, man, it's all about creating our reality. You know what I'm saying? And everything we talk about, we manifesting it. We just ain't laying back on it right now. In this particular hour on the planet, it's like a new day now. It's like the old world is over with. You can go back in there if you want to, but we're in a new day. And this can create the reality you want. We don't work 9 to 5s no more. I just got off the corporate thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in there for a small second just a minute ago. And I almost got stuck. But I realized, yo, I got all this potential. Let me go ahead and put this out. And that's where we at right now, man.
That's what it is.
All right. Well, it feels like, Ross, it feels like this is another convergence. It's more than just a lecture and a tour. This is a convergence of high frequency people coming together and opening up these portals, you know? So I'm excited.
Y'all doing this in my hometown? Hey, y'all doing this in my hometown? What?
Yes.
Hey, come on, man. This is an answered prayer, bro. It's an answered prayer. It's an answered prayer. We're going to
seal it up, y'all. I'm ready to go boo up with my honey. Right?
Hey.
On that note, I'm going to say, from one mystic to another, salute.
Salute, brothers.
And we'll see y'all on the 23rd.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hey, big up, brethren. Big up, big respect. Oh! What?
Infinite Treasure's already in the house.
Hey. We worldwide. Hey, there it go. There it go. Worldwide. Yeah, man. We won't cease these chants until the righteousness covers the earth as the waters cover the seas.
Yes, I. All right. Respect.
Bless up, brethren.